some updates on Afghanistan where I mean, the U.S. troops are out now, Connor. The occupation's over. I'm not quite sure how old you were when it started, but I'm guessing you are a couple years younger than me, so maybe not even in elementary school by the point or something like that. But hey, dude, the troops are out. This is a huge step in the right direction. But that said, it hasn't all been great news. I guess let's start with like just kind of what's going on in Afghanistan, then we'll get to Garrett's article. So, what's the
Sure.
news from Afghanistan the past couple of days?
Yeah, well, I'll just say for sure. No, it's a huge paradigm shift. No, I mean this. I was like, I want to say 5 when 9/11 happened. So virtually since I've been making memories, we've been at war with Afghanistan, and no, it's a huge shift. It's like when you, I don't know how to put it, but it's very interesting to see the way this is all playing out. I've been a little bit, and we're going to get to that with Garrett's piece, disappointed in the media coverage, obviously hugely disappointed in the media coverage, and to see how people have been sort of the polling numbers where people supported the withdrawal, the majority, but then as they kept getting hammered by the media, their support for it started to dwindle a little bit and decrease. And you're just like, I don't know, but no, this is incredible. I mean, hey, one down at least. And so now we can move on to the next ones.
Or
But so
even
yeah,
if it's like a three quarters of it, because they're gonna keep bombing. Hell,
yeah,
it's still a major step in the right direction. Yeah. So,
yeah.
what's happening with the airport now that the U.S. is gone? Are there flights coming in and out? As far as I've seen, there's not. But then I think there's some damage to the airport, and the Taliban. We're talking with Qatar and Turkey about that. So, what's happening there?
Yeah, so on that front, yeah. So the Kabul airport lacks air traffic control. This is Dave DeCamp at antiwar.com. He says the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration barred U.S. civil aircraft from operating over Afghanistan, citing a lack of control and security concerns. Now, the you know the Americans have frozen billions of dollars in international reserves to Afghanistan, and they've pressured the IMF to I think they were supposed to deliver out of the I think it's called the Special Drawing Rights Fund, something like I want to maybe this number is somewhat off, but I think it was like $450 million or something a couple of weeks ago. This is shortly after the fall of Kabul that they were stopped from doing this. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is about where you hear from things like where the chief of staff is saying, "Oh, I don't know if we can recognize them. Are they going to allow freedom of travel?" Well, it looks like they're getting ready to do that. The Taliban are in talks with Turkey and Qatar about managing the Kabul airport. I know the Turks have said that they'd like to have some civilian personnel there, sort of running the airport there for the Taliban, because I'm sure the people who were running it, I think as you reported on earlier on the show, were likely evacuated. I'm sure I don't know if these people were part of the Afghan or what division of sort of the Afghan National Army exactly, or who, but these were Afghan government officials who were likely already left the country, so they need somebody to do that. And they're saying the U.S. says there's about 100 to 200 Americans who remain in Afghanistan. Blinken and Biden say they're mostly like dual U.S. Afghan citizens who have lived in Afghanistan for years. And the UN Security Council adopted a resolution on Monday that said they expect the Taliban to allow safe, secure, and orderly departure from Afghanistan of Afghans and all foreign nationals. And I know that a lot of states with America have been putting out these statements saying that the Taliban has, if I'm not mistaken, that the Taliban has said to them that these people will be allowed to leave, like Afghans and foreign nationals who have the proper travel paperwork with another state to leave the country, essentially. And I think this is an indication that they're on the way to making that a possibility for people who want to be able to do it. And I think that's why we're seeing the improvements now at the airport. But that is a thing that we're seeing, like they're going to condition sort of the international recognition of the new government based on things like that. But also they want to make sure that I'm just trying to fix that light. They're trying to also make sure that the as they say, that human rights are upheld, and they're going to talk about sort of the women's rights and these sorts of things. And we're seeing that the Taliban have made some promises that they're going to allow women to go to work and I believe be in politics and go to school and these sorts of things. So they're saying it's not the Taliban that we remember from the 90s. But as Dave DeCamp has pointed out, and he's absolutely right, what is the U.S. going to do if they don't? They're going to impose more sanctions and
not
treat them.
recognize them, because that's kind of the
Yeah.
thread I've been seeing, that they're, well, so I think there's one thing that they could probably do that would be a real problem, because of how much money the US has been pouring into Afghanistan, and how many probably of the civil programs in that country are built up on US and foreign aid that came into the US government, that there could be some real issues with like tons of people losing jobs, people losing like particular welfare benefits or something like that. I could see that being at least a difficult problem for the Taliban. But at the same time, I don't think that they're, at this point, I don't know why the U.S. is trying so hard to withhold the recognition, because, I mean, this is the government of Kabul. So what do you think of, withholding the recognition?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, the point Dave was making was that if they don't do that and they impose sanctions, the whole idea that this is about human rights or something. Well, sanctions only hurt the civilian population, and what are you going to do? You're going to destabilize the country even further, cause an even worse economic crisis. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the what I mean, isn't it like the statistic I believe it's like 70% of Afghanis live on like a dollar or less than a dollar a day. The economic conditions are horrific. The idea that you would even do this is just completely I don't know. It's typical American foreign policy as far as pressuring states and using aggression, economic warfare against them. But yeah, I mean, I don't. To your point, I mean, what I'd like to know is like what kind of concessions are they trying to extract from them exactly? Because I don't think the American government cares at all about human rights. I mean, they may use that PR on the rubes or whatever, but that doesn't seem to be the real concern. We have seen that the Taliban are saying that they want America and other Western states to reopen their embassies in Kabul now that they've left. And they're saying, look, America should have this is Zabihullah Mujahid, who's a sort of top Taliban spokesman. He says America should have only a diplomatic presence in Kabul. We have communication channels with them, and we expect them to reopen their embassy in Kabul, and we want to have trade relations with them. From what I'm seeing as far as the Taliban goes, is that they're looking to trade with these other states, whether it be China or the U.S. They've made some promises to the Russians that they will make sure, and also they've reemphasized to the other regional and neighboring countries that they're going to make sure that there are no attacks launched from Afghan soil against any of these other countries. In fact, a member of Taliban's Cultural Commission was quoted in Tolo News saying, "We promise to the world, regional countries and neighboring countries, Afghanistan soil will not be used against them. The world should recognize the Afghan government and cooperate with us on reconstruction and with investments." And of course, you have Blinken saying that they're going to have to earn that international recognition if they, and as Dave says, they're using all this economic leverage against them. But like as you say, now we're seeing reports that Blinken, or excuse me, that Mark Milley is coming out saying that we may be able to cooperate with them again against ISIS-K. I think they're looking for, as it is indicated in the reports, that as Dave says, that they're looking for a reason to bomb Afghanistan anyway. Biden keeps saying our over-the-horizon capacity or capabilities are working. We've targeted ISIS-K remotely. You killed civilians. Like the majority of the people you killed were civilians, and they can't prove. Even those reports about the strike in Nangarhar province, there was an exclusive for the Wall Street Journal where they were talking about how, we used this, I think it was called an R9X drone or something. You might have seen this, about how the missile is inert and it shoots out a halo of blades and shreds the target to avoid, too many civilian casualties and really add to increase the precision of a precision strike. And they said that they killed 2 people. The Pentagon came out and said it was or it might have been CENTCOM who said that they got a planner and a facilitator of the attack. But the reports I saw in the Wall Street Journal said that they injured somebody else, and then a total of, I think, 4 additional people, including a woman. They said that they had obtained footage of a house that the side of it had been blown out by this special kind of drone missile, and all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't seem clear to me that either of these strikes were successful. The other one was virtually a massacre of a family, killing 10 civilians, and in Kabul. And we've had Jen Psaki come out and go, it was a success and this sort of thing. So I don't know if the Taliban necessarily wants to get in on this, whatever it is, because it could cause some blowback for them from the domestic population if they're associated with the American former occupying power that's just bombing civilians in the capital city, But as Dave said, they're looking for a reason to do this. But he also makes a point that they can handle ISIS-K on their own, and I think that's basically true. It might be more difficult without the air power, the American air power, but at the same time, I think they can do it, and it's in there. They better be able to do it, because if they don't, they're going to have problems with China and Russia and all these other states to the north who depend on that security. And if they don't, they'll have to they'll probably have to do it themselves, and the Taliban doesn't want to have to deal with that, whatever that would entail.
I've noticed this hilarious thing in some of the HOTS reporting on this, where they're like, well, we don't know if the Taliban or ISIS-K will end up controlling Kabul. Like, ISIS-K has 1,000 maybe fighters in the country. They're not going to they're no threat to take over the country. They could barely even hold any of their own territory. It's just absurd, but that is something I've been seeing. Now,